Hashtag T2P, come and take a sip of the thought with me. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and peace and blessings to you. It's a great day. It's a blessed day. It's a Monday. And if you don't know anything else on this Monday, know that you deserve to be blessed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I know it's been a while since we have been back on a Monday morning, but we are back. We are back. We are so far into September, all the way into October, and COVID and everybody else and everything else. So we are working on it. We're trying to make it happen. We're trying to make sure that everybody is on point with what's happening. So what I want to do today is introduce you to a special guest that we're going to have today. So today, what I've been doing with my series of interviews and candid conversations lately is that I've been just expanding and talking to different people in the community. And when I say my community, I mean my community as a whole. All the intersections that I'm a part of. So I want to highlight those who I've seen in the community, who have helped me in the community and made sure that I shine. And so I want to come back and make sure that they shine as well. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, moms. And so this morning I have a special guest by the name of Dr. Sugar Trask. Right. And so I know y'all are going to say, hey, hold on, wait a minute. No, but it is Dr. Sugar Trask, Trask. And she is a author. She's a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, all of these things here. And so I recently met her, maybe I want to say last year, I believe it was. And we were a part of some things that we were doing in the community. So what I want to do is to bring her on, let her talk about what's going on in her world and in her life. And and just get a little sense of what's happening here. Sometimes what we do is that we don't look back into our community when our community has been there basically for us and for what we're actually doing. So with all of that being said, and all of that other good stuff, what I want to do is bring on the one, the only. Let me make sure, that we're together here. Got everything? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we do that, make sure that you like, share. Show Dr. Trask some love. All of that good stuff. Put down in the comments any questions, anything you may have. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring in author Dr. Sugar Trask. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you?
Good morning. I am awesome. I feel so good this morning. I slept really good because I knew I was going to be up early for your show.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Get the good sleep in and all of that good stuff. I love it. I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I did a little introduction, but what I would like to do before we get into the actual show, I would like for Dr. Sugar Trask to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself.
First of all, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm Sugar Trask. I am the founder of Scar-Free Ministries, which is a ministry of healing, restoration, deliverance, and the prophetic. Also the founder, producer, and executive director of Something Good is a TV show.
Nice.
I was in Houston, Texas. I was raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I've traveled a lot. And I am also a chef. And I have the cooking show, Cooking with Sugarlicious. And that's on YouTube as well as my TV show. But I am just excited. I'm excited about what's been going on this year.
Yes.
This year has been a year of transformation. And I
Indeed, it has.
topic is going to be today, and a transformation for everyone, not just the rich, not just the poor, not just the married, not just the single,
Okay.
not just the business owner, but everyone. COVID 19 is no respecter of persons, but I serve a God. I serve a good God that is no respecter of persons either. And
Right.
so we have had some challenges. I've had challenges. Just it's only the September, the end of
I
September.
know, right?
We have the rest of this to go, Titan. And so, but I just know that. What else was I going to say? I'm just happy to be here. Okay,
Okay.
I was going to say
So,
any questions you might have. Can we just go ahead and put it in the comments?
indeed, indeed, indeed. Put in the
Not today.
comments, y'all. Go ahead and shoot, like we normally do. You pop the questions in. I will put them on the screen and we'll ask and we'll answer as well as we can, or as many as we can in the time frame that we're in. But before we get into all of that, Dr. Sugar Trask, I like to do a little something in the mornings where I call that we acknowledge our breath, right? So what I normally do is we take 3 breaths in the morning and we acknowledge that our breath is important. We acknowledge that our lives are important. We acknowledge that we're here for a reason. So the first breath, I will count it out. It's at a slower 5 pace. All right. And now the idea is for you to hold your breath and to get that center for as long as you can, right? If you can't hold it for the full 5 pace, that's fine. No, not a problem. Hold it for a 2 pace or a 3 pace, whatever it may be. But we do 3 breaths. On the last breath, which is our uh, breath that we call to service, is that basically we take that breath in, acknowledge whatever is going on, and when we blow it out, we make some noise, right? Now, I ask that you make some noise, but if you're at work or in the library and they come and tap you on the shoulder, that's not our fault. Me and Dr. Sugar Trash are not responsible for anything going on like that. Okay. So, so what we want to do is, ladies and gentlemen, come with us. I want you to center yourself. I want you to take your shoulders out a little bit. Yeah. I want you to sit up, chest out, open, so you can get that breath in. And then on the count of 3, we're going to take that deep breath, and I'm going to count it out on this first breath. And then on the second breath, I won't count. The third breath, I won't count, but we're going to make some noise. All right. You ready, Dr. Sugar Trash? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. All right. So on the count of 3, we're going to take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now remember I said I was going to go ahead and I was going to count out that first breath. The second breath, I'm not counting. I will do the hand movements, but I want you to get in your center. All right. And we're talking about that thing. We're talking about us. We're talking about acknowledging. On the count of 3, we're going to take that deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. And out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you should feel a little warm and fuzzy right about now. It shouldn't be nothing hurting. It just should be a little warm and fuzzy because we're in that space. We're in that space. Now, this last one, what I want you to do is think about it. And I want you to take whatever that is. Yesterday is gone. Today is a new day to do something different, to start something over. So take that, and I want you to, when you blow it out, I want you to take it somewhere far, far away. Mount Everest, the bottom of the ocean, to the moon and the stars, wherever it may be. But I want you to make some noise because that noise is telling the universe that we acknowledge what the issue, problem, concern is, and we're no longer going to deal with it in this space right now. Right? Y'all ready? All right. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in. And out.
Glory, 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 glory. Hallelujah.
That part, that right there, that right there. Now, look, Dr. Sugar Trash, I want to make sure that we know all of this good stuff. So we take the breath, we center ourselves, but then there's a little something that we love to do here on the Thought to Ponder, and it's called groove. Now, Dr. Sugar Trash, I know you got a little groove in you. I know
Oh
you
yeah,
do.
oh yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah, oh
So
yeah.
if y'all are ready for it, if y'all are ready for it and we're grooving and we're ready to get this groove started, then let's go. Let's get it, right? Sit it ta 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 ta. Sit it ta 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 ta. So ta 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 to P. Check us out. T to P. Check us out. Do the dot to do dot to do the dot to dot to do the dot to do dot to T to P. Check us out. T to P. Check us out. T to P. Check us out. Right. That's what. Look, Dr. Sugar Trash, you come on anytime you want to come on. If you're gonna groove like that, if you gonna groove like that, then you come on anytime you want to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Look,
Not bad for 66, right?
come on, and say it one more time for those in the back. You're not bad. Oh,
Not bad to be 66.
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Not bad for 66. So you know that's how you do it. Yes, indeed. So, so Dr. Sugar, so you know what? Let's start with that. Let's start with um you are 66 years old, proud to be 66 years old, and you are on your third volume or third installment of your book series, Candid Mirror. So tell us a little bit about what it's like to write, right? And you're doing this in this age time, right? So you're doing
Yes.
it here. So tell us what it's like to be um and I don't want to say it like this, but I want people to understand where we're at. Um, being older and writing about your transformation, writing about you going from one space to another. How has it been? And then what do you have to say for those that are older that want to do something like this but hasn't done something like this?
Okay, I'm going to answer your question in reverse.
Okay.
Those of you that are older, think back to everything, every time, anything that happened to you, and start journaling it. Good, bad, and ugly. Go back
Mhm.
to your birth all the way up to September of 2020. Go all the way back. And you cannot do it in a day, it's impossible. So as you write, date the journal, make certain you date it. Then, after you've written in your journal, write down how did that make you feel to revisit the pain, revisit
Mm.
revisit the drug addiction, revisit
Mhm.
prostitution, revisit the abandonment. How did writing that out make you feel? And then continue, continue, continue. Now, I have all three of my books. This is volume number 3, volume number 2, and volume number 1. I told you I was going to answer in reverse. When I first started writing volume 1, it took me 5 years to write it.
Mm.
Volume 3, it took me 5 weeks.
Ah.
Healing, healed,
Mhm.
delivered, but
Right.
it's on relapse as well. So
Mhm.
it's going to hurt. Now, I threw away so many writings that I did because I had to revisit all the pain.
Yes.
Visiting it, it's like, oh no, I'm not going to share that with anybody. But the more I was ministered to, and the more I ministered, God was telling me, you need to share your story.
Right.
I will get the glory. I meaning God,
Right.
not these books. They're not for me. They're just about me. They're about the struggles and the addictions. 31 years of drugs, alcohol, and alcohol and prostitution. These are books of how I was so desperate at one time. I was drinking rubbing alcohol. I was drinking NyQuil. I was drinking Watkins vanilla extract with 25% alcohol out of my mama's kitchen, granny's kitchen.
Mm.
You go down. It took me 5 drug treatment centers, 5. But it was that last one in Galveston, Texas,
Mhm.
that our daily bread that stopped 5 suicide attempts. The last suicide attempts was at Greenspoint Mall up here in Houston.
Uh-huh.
So you have to go deep into it, and you're gonna get angry when people. And I've had a lot of men read this book, which is My Shattered Mirror: A Life of Despair, which is volume 1. I've had bishops and
Mhm.
my bishop and several other pastors read this book and just wept, and they said, Sister Sugar, how are you alive today with all the positive energy you have after going through this? Then when I pop volume 2 on them, I have several that's writing their own books now. And then
Mhm.
when I got to number 3. Now this is the one this is volume 3. It's called Relapse, the Driving Forces. The driving forces behind relapse. And you don't relapse when you pick up your first drink. You don't relapse when you pick up
Right.
your first joint, or you do whatever you went back you were doing. You relapse up here. This up here is where you relapse.
Exactly.
Many days before, many hours before. And you've got to understand that no matter what, you've got to hold on. That last suicide attempt at Greenspoint Mall, I had to come to the conclusion, and I said, God, this life, it's not for me to take. I
Right.
didn't give it to me, and I can't take it away.
Hmm.
I was a failure. I was already feeling a failure, but I even failed at suicide. And
Right.
I did, otherwise I wouldn't have my books.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
Someone else would be writing about it. Go ahead.
exactly. So let me ask you a question. So we're talking about something um, really important, really near and dear to our community, which is a couple of things. Um, you were talking about being addicted, uh,
Mm-hmm.
prostitution, and
Mm-hmm.
then also suicide. Um, if you can, without telling us, everything that's in the books, can you tell us what was it that catapulted you to um, the addiction, the prostitution? So we said that you were drinking
Rubbing
um,
alcohol.
rubbing alcohol. This is weird, and I'm we're in this safe space, so I'm just going to say that this.
Sure, sure.
I came in contact with someone that was going to the pharmacy and getting the NyQuil, the
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what the other thing was, but when you just said that, it kind of triggered. I was like, wait, hold on. I remember something like that. So what was it that took you to the point of it had to be not your conventional, right, alcohol, if you would, but something outside of that? Because I would have never thought of that, right? And I don't know that most people would think that that's something that you could actually get. You could be addicted to the alcohol that's within these actual items. So, can you give us just a little bit of what took you down that road, that route?
Well, the liquor stores weren't open 24 hours a day. The bars
Uh,
weren't open 24 hours a day. And in doing the cocaine, okay, let me back up just a little bit. I'm a child of Haight Ashbury. I'm a child of being a hippie. I'm a child of the acid, the LSD, the mescaline. So
right.
child growing up in that. My brother, 8 years older than myself, and my sister, 4 years older than myself. So I had that was the crowd I was in the older crowd. But as life progressed, I was a pharmaceutical addict at the age of 15.
Oh, wow.
But when I got turned on to the rubbing alcohol and aftershave, that actually came from Betty Ford. That was long, long, long. And that's why we had
Mhm.
for clinic, because she shared different things that she would drink that nobody would consider. I mean, she always smelled like vanilla extract. Well, vanilla extract has alcohol in it.
Right.
Women ago used to put little vanilla behind their ears. Well, that alcohol in it would absorb into the blood system. And you just
Mhm.
great grandma and grandma was just smelling like vanilla. They was high as a kite. So these types of things. So you find
Right.
out, you really find out it's almost like today's drugs. Who would have thought about smoking bath salts? What were you doing to even come up with something like that?
Right.
Was a
Right.
myth. They knew what went into it, and that's what they did.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, like, sometimes you don't know about these things. And then you kind of like think to yourself, well, how did this actually come about? So yeah.
Yeah. So as time went on, I had when I went to cosmetology school, I was at 23 at that time. And the thing that I was around was all of the experimental everything being in cosmetology school. And so one of the people that I was in the group of had a fabulous doctor, and his name was Dr. Good. And
Hmm.
with Dr. Good, you could get any medication that you wanted. In fact, Dr. Good was one of the doctors that performed the first sex change in Minnesota.
Oh,
That
wow.
way back. He was on that board that did that. So any kind of drugs that you wanted, so you started mixing them. And so I thought if it says take two 4 times a day, and this was really in my head. This is how sick I had gotten. If I
Mhm.
took that would really knock out whatever needed to knock out. But then I was drinking gin to go along with it. So that was my cocktail back then.
Yes, yes,
And I was
yes.
in school, I was in, cosmetology school. So that circle, it was the circle. So when they tell you, and somebody is going through rehab right now, someone has a grandson or a granddaughter that needs to go to treatment right now. When they
Right.
say coming out of jail, coming out of prison, you have to, Titan, you have to. It's imperative that you change people, places, and things.
That right there. That right there. Dr. Fugatrax. Ah. So it's funny because we tend to leave, right? This
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna talk about it like this. We tend to go out of the darkness and return back to that same darkness. And you can't go back to that same darkness. You got to shift to something else, or you have to transform, as we're talking about, to something else. I was talking with someone and they said, "Oh, well, no, my peeps are holding me down. They got me. They this and this." But in that your circle or those peeps that you were with, that's where the most damage happened in your life. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
that. You can't go back to that same thing. I always say this, Dr. Perez. I always say you can't play with the darkness because sooner or later the darkness is going to envelop you. You can play with it all you want, right? And think nothing is happening, but the darkness, when it grabs a hold of you, it's a hold of you. You got to leave it alone. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish
Oh
what
no, go right ahead. Because
you
of
thought
this,
about.
when I was in treatment, there was a girl that had been sober 18 years.
Ah.
She went to her sister's bridal party. They were
Wow.
serving champagne. 18 years sober. Had one sip of champagne and was drunk for 3 years. Lost her
Wow.
lost her children, lost her job. She was a big nurse down there in Galveston at UTMB. Went way back to the gutter. Back to the gutter, all the way back to the gutter. And see, when I went into treatment the fifth time, because see, you have to do it for yourself. You
Right.
can't do it because of your husband. You can't do it because of your children. My first two times was because it was court. I did it for the court appointed, and then the other time I did it for my husband because of the job that he had. I didn't want to, disturb any of that, so I went ahead and went to treatment. Yeah, right. But my heart wasn't in it because the
Right.
day 6 weeks treatment, of course, my heart wasn't in it, so I went to the bar. But what I saw and who I saw at the bar was my instructor.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So to
wow.
turn that around, when I was in Galveston at Our Daily Bread, I was running the 12-step program in the mornings for the alcoholics and then in the afternoon for the drug addictions, because you don't keep them together, you keep them separated. Because
Right.
really, alcoholics, they look down on drug addicts. Drug addicts look down on alcoholics. That ain't
Right. Exactly.
it's real. A drug is a drug is a drug. And then
Hmm.
I would go to the dope house afterwards. And I did that
Indeed.
until October. My sobriety date is coming next month, and it's October 17th, and that's 23 years, y'all.
Come
20
on. 23
birthdays,
years. Yeah.
23 Thanksgivings, 23
Yeah.
sober.
Exactly. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I
Thank
always,
you.
I always want to say that sometimes we look at people and we don't really see what they're going through or what they've been through, and then we
Mm-hmm.
don't know. And so when somebody reads your book and say, "Oh, well, wait, you did what? You went through what?" So I was telling everyone that I met you last year. Um, and I know you, but I don't know you like that. So I thought today was a great way for us to kind of like open up and see where you've been, what you've done, all of those things, and then where you are now. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's it goes in a sense, the mental, the physical, and then the spiritual, right? And so it seems that you went through all of that, the mental and the physical, to get to this spiritual place. So tell us a little bit about you transforming or your transformation from that space to the space that you're in now, because you're celebrating 23 years sober. You're celebrating being an author, being an entrepreneur, having a business and an organization and all of that. Tell us about that transformation. Oh, you know what? Before you do that, let's let's do this. What was one key part to your transformation? Was it something that was already there? Was it your faith? Was it your family? What was the one key important part to your transformation?
I didn't want to die. All I wanted, Titan,
Hmm,
I wanted was
hmm.
pain to stop. That's all I wanted out of all of it, was for the pain to stop. I wanted to stop hurting. I wanted the shame, the guilt to go. The pain of being raped, the pain of being molested, the pain of being not having, I didn't have any self.
Oh,
Zero, zero. I've always worked. I've always been great in school. I've always been functional, even working, even drinking, even drugging. I've always had money. I was always different. And I was different because I was always hiding what was going on in my life. Because see, I was being raped and molested and didn't even know what that was. I had never even heard the word rape or molested or any of that. They were doing the nasty, you know. But until I spent the night in seventh grade at a friend of mine's house, and she was telling, well, we were talking, you know, little girls talking about what had happened to her sister. And I thought, well, that's been happening to me as far back as I can remember, 4 years old, you know. But yeah, and so I didn't have a word to connect it. I was raised in the church. Daddy was a deacon. He was the trustee. He side by side with the pastor. We were there Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Friday. We were there. Mama fixed dinner and hosted and all of that. She worked for the federal government. Daddy was a teacher. You know, and all of this, we lived with I was the only African American in my graduating class in 1971. I took myself out of the black school and went to another school because I didn't like what I was seeing because I wasn't getting beat up, but people were making fun of me for one, trying to take my things. And so
Right,
the
right.
fight I ever had was in that school, and I knew when I clicked off, it was not pretty at all because I had to beat down the largest girl, the baddest girl in that school. And that's what
Right.
mom had said. You're going to have to get the biggest one. And I said, and mama had just got me a brand new slicker. They were called slickers back there. Any of y'all that's got the age. And it was beautiful. And I went to school, and Edna, she pulled my coat. And I said, okay, do I want to get beat down by my mama, or am I going to have to beat this girl?
You,
I
and
said,
baby, let me tell you, Dr. Trask, if there is a difference, if there is a choice between mama or the girl, it is always going to be the girl because we
I
not get beat down by mama. That's not about to happen.
And that's all I kept seeing, hearing in my head, hearing in my head, hearing in my head, hearing in my head. And mama said, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And I'm telling you, I went in. I had to give her all I had because I only had one chance. See,
Yeah.
they were from a family of 12, and the other older brothers was,
Yes.
and somebody else had shot someone. One of the other brothers was on heroin, and we didn't know what all that stuff was, but they were bad. They were
Right. Right.
they were bad, you know. And
Right.
so I said, okay, here I go. I got one good hit, and I can only take one good hit, and I got to get on that ground. And once I get her on that ground, I'm not going to stop until she stops. And I tell
Exactly.
my girls the same way. My nieces, I said, don't you stop until they stop.
Okay.
And they had to come and get her and
But
take
they
her to the
can't.
hospital. But honey, I had a little blood on my coat. I didn't even take my coat off. I had a little blood on my coat, and I said, "Well, Mama can fix that." So
Okay.
my hair was hair down here, and
Right.
I said, "Mama, I had to. I didn't want you whooping me." She said, "You had to what?" I says, "I had to beat her down, Mama.
Okay.
I got blood on my coat. I got blood on." She said, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." But like, Mama, 87 years old. She's here now. She's here
Yeah.
now. And from that day on, I gained all the respect because she was big, she was bad. All the respect from everybody in that school.
Right.
I got out. I told my mama I don't want to go to that school. I don't want to go in fear. You know, they would take my lunch money. They'd pull my hair. They would do all kind of crazy things, and I didn't want that. So she said, I put my own stuff, and we went over there, and they accepted me, and I went to school. I was the only African American. And so some of the kids, parents took them out of the school because they had a colored.
Wow.
They didn't want that. And then I had one mulatto boy whose father was in the Air Force, and he was there, but he was a grade or two behind me. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's where I graduated from. But yeah, it was that was in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You just mentioned the word. You said mulatto, right?
Hmm.
Can you tell us what mulatto is?
His mother was white, his father was black.
Okay. So the reason I said that is because um, Mariah Carey just recently did an interview and,
Hmm.
with Oprah, and she was talking about how back then uh, they were called mulatto, knowing
Hmm.
it's not a word that we use now per se, but it was
Hmm.
because her mother was white and her father was black, right? So she was mixed and they called her mulatto, right? And
Right.
so I just wanted everybody to know what that was because they're here, we hear words um, that some of us didn't grow up with. I'm,
Right.
I'm from an era of when you were still growing up. I was born in the 70s. So I'm still in that era. So I heard those words, but a lot of people nowadays don't hear those words. So I just wanted you to explain that. So let me ask you this, Dr. Trask. With all of that, with what's going on in the world today, with racism and uh, bring back my girl, saving our daughters, um, protecting our black men, protecting our trans people, women and men, protecting our mothers and fathers, COVID, all of this stuff. What what is it that your books, your story um, can give to all of what's going on right now? Um, yeah, yeah. What can your
It gives
story give
hope.
to what's going
It
on right
gives hope.
now? Yes.
No matter what, there will be a better tomorrow. It's only a day away.
Come on.
Stop, don't quit, don't give up. You might have went out last night and did some horrible things, or even had some horrible things happen to you. It's only temporary. And you've got to be stronger than the disease. You have to be stronger than the desire to want. And what I wanted was not to die, but I had no other way. I didn't know any way because I didn't tell my parents. All the rapes,
Right.
the molestations, the everything, I never told. Well, I didn't have to tell my dad because he was the one that was molesting me. I did never tell my mother. My mother, to this day, till she read this book,
Hmm.
the first book, she had no idea. And this one here, which is the driving forces behind relapse, this is the one I fought the hardest with God.
Mm.
I have a relationship with my heavenly Father.
Yes.
I fought with him. My fist was clenched up at him, and I actually said, "I am not going to write that. Oh, I'm not going to share that." And he came back with something that I say all the time. He says, "Well, don't you call yourself Miss Transparent?" Pow! I said, "Oh, yes, yes, yes." He says, "Well,
Exactly.
you're going to put it in the book."
Exactly.
And I said, "No, I'm not going to put it in the book." And the book was almost finished. It was like 95% complete. He said,
Wow.
"Get this chapter out and put this chapter in."
It's amazing to hear you talk about the process and what you've been through because a lot of times what we do is we want to save face, and this is an open forum, this is a candid conversation. Most of the time we want to save face, and we don't want people to look down upon us and not, and then there are things that we have yet to deal with that we're holding close to us like that, and so um, when I met you, I was speaking on my truth and what was happening, but it was the same thing. It was okay. I'm not going to talk about this. Oh no, you're going to talk about this. Oh no, you're going to talk about it, and you're going to have to get comfortable with talking about it because we first off, you need to heal from it. Secondly, somebody out there needs to see that representation. And
Mhm.
so I would have never known um, that that's what happened in your life because I see you, right? And I don't see that. I know that you've been through some things, but I don't see that. I didn't know that, right? And so
Mhm.
I think I just want to applaud you. I just want to say thank you for being you, being open, being honest, being truthful. Um, and then I want to thank you for having that battle with your God, because from that battle came some great fruit, came some good stuff for people to have. So do me this favor, Dr. Trask. I know we got to get out of here. Um, but so do me this favor. Tell everybody how they can find you, find your books, and all of that good stuff, Amazon, all of that stuff. Let them know how they can find you.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook, author Sugar Trask. Go to my website, www.scarfree03ministries.com. You can call the office at 409 333 9006. And you can go to YouTube, Sugar Trask. And there I have some of the shows that I've done. And also, I have 38 cooking shows on the side, on that site. But what I really want to tell your audience before we go, I want to
Sure.
thank everybody that's come on. But it's my beginning, which is you've got to get this book. Where is this one? You must get this one. This was Desperation to Salvation. I want to.
Mm.
I was born again, spirit filled, tongue talking crackhead for 13 years.
Wow.
There's going to be part two, part three, part four. I'll be back on. So don't think
Yes, indeed.
because a person is doing whatever they're doing, they're not saved.
Right, right,
Like I tell people, when I was good, I was very, very good. But when I relapsed and was bad, I was very, very bad. But
right.
I had a church in Galveston, Texas, Avenue L. Pastor has gone on, Thompson has gone home to be with the Lord, that loved me when I was high, loved me when I was drunk, loved me when I was pissy running down the alley because my mama's back door and their back door, and he lived in the
Ah,
house.
right,
So he
right.
saw me all the different times. And he'd say, Sister Sugar, you coming to church Sunday? No, I'm not coming to church Sunday. Saturday, right? And so when I would come in, they just loved me, loved me. I worked at Walmart on the seawall at that time, and they would come in and, just don't give up. Because, see, even when I was turning tricks in the hotels, every hotel has a Gideon's Bible.
Mm,
My money in the Gideon's Bible. So when anybody come in, because they were robbing, the hotel rooms and everything, but no one ever went to the Bible.
yeah,
I had
yeah.
$4,000 or $5,000 in the Bible, you know.
Mm,
And so yeah, so don't ever think that you're not gonna be covered because what happens to you is going to heal you. And that's why, and I didn't tell you that the chapter was depression.
mm, yeah.
Depression. I
Right.
said, no, I'm not. He says, oh, but you are. And of course, God won, not me. But as I was writing that chapter, which is the volume three, as I was writing that chapter, there were so many more layers that was coming off that I
Mm,
didn't even realize was even still there. So I thank God that He allowed me to vent at Him, and
right.
then let me go ahead and write it. But it was the hardest chapter to write. Yeah. But anyway, again, you can catch me on Facebook, Author Sugar Trask, YouTube, Sugar Trask, or the website, www.scarfree03ministries.com. Jesus bore our scars on Calvary so we could live scar free.
Indeed, indeed. So, Dr. Sugar Trash, I know you gotta go. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Yes, you will be back because this was a lot to unpack in this short time. But but I want you to do something for me before you go. I want you to talk to that young girl, that young boy, that person in the back there that may be going through something, maybe um, not understanding what's happening, like you said that you didn't understand, and then they're looking for a way out. What's something that you can, I know you said don't give up, but what's something that you can tell them as a final thought um, to bring them some peace or to bring them a little light? What can you tell them?
First, I'm going to say if something is happening to you and you know it's not right, go to somebody, whether it's a preacher in the church that you don't even go to, you're not even a member of.
Mhm.
There's 800 numbers out there to call. And get with somebody older, whether it's a family member or the person next door. They can help you to walk through this with calling the 800 number. Do not live a life for 31 years and you're hurting,
Mm.
doing things to yourself because you're hurting. I was a cutter. I cut. I was an alcoholic. I drank. I was a drug addict. I did drugs. I was a prostitute. All I wanted was the pain to stop. So I'm speaking to you. I know you don't want to live in that pain. I know you're at your wits' end. You've cut your wrist. You've taken all those pills. You've hurt yourself. You've hurt your child. You're hurting yourself today. Get
Mhm.
some help. And if all else fails, simply call Titan or call me 409 333 9006. I do not disclose any of my clients' information at all. I have mothers calling, grandmothers calling. I have been on the same prayer line with John Hunter Ministries for 18 years.
Mhm.
So what you say stays.
Amen.
Just want you, and young men that have been hurt, have been molested, that have been raped, that's been made to do things that they didn't want to do, whether it was with your mother, your father, your brother, your uncle, call because there's help. And
Yes.
I say there's hugs after drugs and there's
Okay.
after dope.
Amen. Say it one more time for us. One more time.
There's hugs after drugs, and there's hope after dope.
Come on, come on. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want our interview to end, excuse me, our conversation to end, but I just want to say you all give Dr. Sugar Trash some hearts, some thumbs up, some likes, some follows, all of that good stuff. I'm going to get her information and I'm going to put it down into the comment, and then we're going to repost this with that. So, Dr. Sugar Trash, you know you have an open invite. I want to have you back on, and then maybe we can have a time where we can sit down and unpack some of the items in the book, and then also talk about your cooking and everything else that you're doing because
I have a cookbook.
you're a woman of many faces.
I have
So,
cookbooks.
indeed, indeed. Look, came prepared. Look,
But I would like to say something before I get off.
go ahead.
If there's anyone that's listening, anyone that's on or going to hear this later, if you have everybody has a book inside of them.
Yes.
If you want to write a book, if you want to get help in doing that, please contact me. Also, if you wanted to go into business, you thought about a business, but you just don't have the steps to get into the business, please contact me. I am a member of ATS Universities, and they help profitable businesses become more profitable. And whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is, we're standing with you to achieve that, to maintain that, to keep that. It's an awesome, awesome time, and it's owned and funded by Antonio T. Smith Jr. You can look him up as well. But come on, get on my team.
No, Antonio.
My team, you're on a winning team.
Indeed, indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Dr. Sugar Trask, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. I will have you back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I will have her back. Her story is powerful and what she's been through. And I see a lot of amens and a lot of comments going on. So I will repost this. Thank you so much, Dr. Sugar Trask. I appreciate you. I love you for what you do, what you've been through, and then what you represent now. I love, love, love that. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all next time. Hold on one second, Dr. Sugar Trask, and we will see you all next time. Hashtag T2P, come and take a sip of the thought with me.